Welcome to This Explainer. Look, I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we are digging into something that, at first glance, just looks like your standard corporate real estate deal. But honestly, it's actually a massive neon sign pointing straight toward the future of global business. When one of the world's largest banks decides to aggressively expand its physical footprint, we really need to pay attention. And it's not because they're opening a bunch of new local branches for people to cash checks. It's because these huge real estate moves are like a crystal ball. They reveal exactly where global innovation, investment, and high-level jobs are heading next. So let's jump right in and unpack this massive shift together. Okay, let's dive into this incredible number, 1.4 million. HSBC has just announced a breathtaking expansion that takes up over 1.4 million square feet of premium, Grade A office space. We are talking about a gigantic new integrated campus in Bengaluru, followed almost immediately by another major office lease in Hyderabad. The sheer scale of this footprint is literally staggering. It's one of the most aggressive physical expansions we've seen in a while, and it's sending major ripples through the entire commercial real estate sector. Which brings us to the central mystery. Why does a British multinational bank need so much premium office space in India right now? It seems like a simple question, right? But the answer is incredibly profound. It tells a story that goes way beyond brick-and-mortar buildings. It actually points to a fundamental structural shift in India's role in the whole global economy. This isn't just some isolated event. It's the crystallization of a massive, unstoppable trend. Let's actually break down the deals on the table here. First up, we've got the crown jewel, a massive 1.2 million square foot integrated campus at Prestige JRC Signature Towers, right on Bengaluru's Outer Ring Road. HSBC signed a letter of intent with Prestige Group for this, and it makes it one of their biggest office developments in the country. But almost simultaneously, and this is super important, they locked down over 200,000 square feet in Hyderabad's HITEC city. Now, at first glance, you might just see two big corporate leases, but as we're going to see, this is part of a much bigger shakeup happening right now across India's office market. But here is the real twist. When most of us think about a major bank, we automatically picture a traditional branch, right? Tellers, thick steel vaults, local customer service desks. Well, scratch that. That's absolutely not what these 1.4 million square feet are going to be used for. There won't be a single teller window in sight. Instead, these premium offices are built to be global capability centers. These buildings are literally going to be the high-tech engines driving the entire bank globally. So let's define exactly what that means. A Global Capability Center, or a GCC, is basically a multinational company's global command center. Instead of serving local customers who walk in off the street, the teams in these centers are building and running the critical, high-value systems used by millions of customers all over the world. It is the central nervous system of the bank's digital and operational future. Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer caliber of work happening inside those walls. We are talking about software engineering, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, cybersecurity, digital banking, payments technology, even financial crime detection and complex risk management. These are definitely not back-office support roles answering customer service calls. No way. This is where a huge chunk of HSBC's entire future is being actively engineered. And this brilliantly illustrates a macro trend we're seeing everywhere. 10 or 20 years ago, companies looked to India mostly just to reduce costs. It was purely an outsourcing strategy. But today, global giants are coming to India to build world-class products. It is a complete 180-degree shift from just saving a few bucks to true high-end value creation. So why did this happen? Well, it's because India has quietly evolved into one of the world's largest, deepest talent pools for high-end technology and financial services. Whether you're talking about global payment systems, advanced cloud platforms, or next-gen cybersecurity protocols, these systems are now designed, developed, and fully operated from top to bottom entirely from India. India isn't just supporting global businesses anymore. It's become absolutely central to how they survive and thrive on a daily basis. So, the flagship choice. Why exactly did they go with Bengaluru's Outer Ring Road? Well, HSBC's choice of the Outer Ring Road, or ORR, is absolutely not a coincidence. This corridor is India's premier destination for tech companies. HSBC is moving into a neighborhood that's already packed with heavyweights like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Intel, and Cisco. Throw in the upcoming metro connectivity, huge Grade A office spaces, and access to what is arguably the deepest tech talent pool in all of Asia, and it's a no-brainer. But most importantly, having this massive 1.2 million square foot campus lets HSBC bring teams that are currently scattered all over the place into one unified space. Better collaboration, happier employees, and tons of room to grow. Which leads to the dual city strategy. If Bengaluru is the flagship, why Hyderabad too? The answer's pretty straightforward. Hyderabad is absolutely booming. It has rapidly emerged as one of India's fastest-growing global capability center destinations. It's got fantastic infrastructure, a highly skilled and rapidly expanding tech workforce, and a really strong ecosystem of multinational companies all its own. What this tells us is that global companies aren't putting all their eggs in one basket anymore. Instead of just picking one city, a giant like HSBC is strategically building capacity across multiple thriving Indian tech hubs. And make no mistake about the timeline here. Now, HSBC hasn't publicly announced the exact headcount for these offices, because that depends a lot on modern hybrid work policies and collaboration spaces, but standard industry metrics tell us a campus of this 1.4 million square foot scale has the potential to easily support several thousand employees over time. That massive scale signals a very deep, structural, long-term commitment. This isn't just some temporary pop-up expansion. So the crucial point is this. Commercial real estate often gives us an incredibly accurate early signal of where jobs, investment, and innovation are heading. This explainer isn't just about a bank signing a piece of paper for a big office. It's a massive, tangible signal of global economic restructuring. When a company commits to this much space, they are placing a massive bet on the talent and the ecosystem of that specific location. Let's quickly summarize what is actually moving into these spaces. We're seeing critical, high-value functions relocating directly to India. Engineering, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, end-to-end product development, and high-level risk analytics. The fact that these foundational functions increasingly sit inside India's global capability centers proves that global confidence in India's talent is just off the charts. They're trusting their absolute most critical operations to these teams. Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway here. HSBC's new campuses won't just change the physical skylines of Bengaluru and Hyderabad. They reflect a much grander narrative, a future where India is no longer just supporting the global economy from the background, but is actively helping to build it from the front lines. Honestly, if this trend keeps up at this pace, the next decade could easily see India become the world's single most important destination for global capability centers. The buildings being announced today, they are quite literally the global innovation hubs of tomorrow. So I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to chew on. As these global giants continue to pour huge investments into these massive integrated campuses, will Bengaluru's outer ring road continue to dominate India's GCC landscape as the undisputed king? Or will the rapid rise and stellar infrastructure of Hyderabad eventually allow it to completely close the gap? It's a fascinating city rivalry playing out on a massive global stage, and it's for sure a trend you're going to want to keep watching. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep exploring these shifts and keep learning.